Hey, what's going on guys? GameOfTheYearReviews here. Today I'm reviewing a game that I actually missed last year. I saw it on sale recently and decided to finally try it out. So now, I'm going to give my thoughts on one of the most inspired and unique RPGs I've ever played, Child of Light. Child of Light is a platforming RPG published by Ubisoft and developed by their Montreal subsidiary. It was first released April 30th, 2014 on Windows and released on every major gaming platform by July 2014. It was met with a plethora of positive reviews at launch and still does to this day. This may seem surprising given the stream of poorly made and uninspired titles released by Ubisoft over the last few years. But this game shines the company into a new light and hopefully will be a cornerstone of future releases by them. And with that, let's hop right into the review. Our adventure starts off with a cutscene, a narrator reading from a storybook. It tells of the Princess of Austria, Aurora, who will be our protagonist. She was loved deeply by her father, the king, who raised her alone. But her father grew lonely and fell in love with the wrong woman, who would now take the throne. On the Great Friday before Easter, 1895, Aurora went to sleep. At morning she was found, but not alive. Her face pale and white, she didn't make a peep. But yet, once upon a time, she awoke in a strange land instead. And that is how our adventure begins. Aurora wakes, dazed and confused, and desperately calls out for her father, but never receives a reply. She continues walking until she comes upon a pink-leaved tree and meets a firefly named Ignicholas. He leads her along to a seer who could help Aurora get home. They enter the seer's home after Ignicholas shows us a nifty trick he can do that is used for occasional puzzles throughout the game. He can light up certain objects and make reflections of them on whatever is behind the original object. In the house, they see a statue in the middle of a fountain with a sword in front of it. A voice calls out for Aurora to remove the sword of Methildus. Once you pull it out, a battle ensues, and this is where we learn about the fighting aspect of the game. After you have slain the monster, you venture onward to the old monastery. You fight monsters and complete puzzles inside, which help you gain a basic understanding of how future dungeons will function. Once you have done this, you walk to the main room of the monastery and light up 4 gems that break the stained glass art that releases the seer, but the 2 stone statues come to life and challenge you. This acts as the first boss battle of the game, with a harder enemy than any of the ones preceding it, more than 1 enemy to kill, epic music, and a scene set for 2 powerful entities out to defeat the other. After each boss fight, the storybook will continue, recap our accomplishments, and set up for the next act. After the cutscene, we meet the Lady of the Forest, the aforementioned seer, and she tells us how we are in Lemuria, ruled by Umbra, the Queen of the Night, who came into power after the Queen of Light passed. Umbra has taken the mirror behind the throne, a magic link to Aurora's home, the only one that exists. To banish the night, we must bring back the stars, the sun, and the moon, the light. The Lady of the Forest then informs us that she created Ignicholas to aid us in our quest. She then tells us how we can reach the sun and the moon, but how will we reach the stars? Well, the answer is right above us. We look overhead and a light appears, giving us the power of flight. We are also advised to keep our crown with us and to never remove it. For our last gift, we are given a mysterious flute for when we are in despair. When Aurora asks what it does, the lady says she can't hear us and fades away into the night. We hear the narrator once again, but we test our flying ability while doing so, symbolizing that the storybook and Aurora are no longer separate, but now the same, and with that, we have our game. To recover the sun, moon, and stars, we will travel far. The road ahead will be a long one, but not too lonely, for we shall meet many companions to help us along our journey. The gameplay of Child of Light is fluid and unique, combining many elements into everything you do. Gameplay outside of battles is elegant, yet simple. The sense of freedom given to you in these segments is great as you explore a vast, beautiful land. Once you are able to fly, however, the feeling of freedom grows as you soar to new heights and hidden areas. A lot of the questing, battling, and exploration is optional, although very helpful and very fun. This exploration is aided by your flying companion, Ignicholas. If you want to open certain chests, get wishes for yourself, solve puzzles, and hinder enemies with his light to get the element of surprise and an extra attack on them, he's the man, or in this case, Firefly for the job. The items you obtain from chests are useful, such as healing potions, occasional stat boosts, and oculi that power up your gear with attack or defense buffs. The puzzles are interesting and original, but challenging enough that the rewards feel well earned. Respectfully, they are never overly difficult to the point where you become frustrated, though there were only one or two that invoked this emotion. The combat is simple, but still requires a good amount of planning and focus from the player. You are allowed 2 characters at a time in combat, but the enemies can group up to 3 in a battle. The timeline at the bottom displays the icons of all your enemies and your characters. These icons will slide at the bottom when they reach the beginning of the action phase. When a character's icon reaches it, you can choose to attack, defend, run, switch party members, or use items. These actions are performed after the icon reaches the very end of the bar. When you or the enemy have their icon in the middle of the action phase and are hit by an attack before they can reach the end of the timeline, they will be interrupted, causing their icon to be pushed backwards on the timeline by a significant amount. But once again, Igniculus plays a huge part in combat. If you have him shine over an enemy, it will slow them down on the timeline, giving your partners a chance to attack. If you shine him on your side, however, he will heal you or one of your teammates. He can also hover over the wish branches and heal your health and magic. Combat is where oculi come into play. You can equip them before battle to get elemental bonuses in both attack and defense, as well as other buffs. You can even combine the oculi to get stronger buffs. The last major thing in the gameplay is leveling up. As in any RPG, you gain experience from combat. You gain stat boosts and skill points, which can be used to get new, stronger moves, as well as more stat boosts of your choosing. The gameplay is fantastic, combining many unique ideas to create a world full of fun and freedom. For Child of Light's presentation, let me first praise how great all of the 3D models look in a 2-dimensional game. They just have more life and flow to them than a normal 2D game. For example, when Aurora turns around, her model doesn't immediately flip. It turns around and shows her side, as well as her sheath, hair, and crown, bringing you more into the game. Monsters also seem incredibly intimidating because they are much scarier and darker than you. There is a real sense of loneliness in this game even though you have friends with you. It's more of a sense of, I'm not where I should be home. This lurking feeling always reminds you why you want to return home, to be in your family's comfort, safe from any dangers that lurk around every corner in Lemuria. There's even a point when you are separated from Igniculus and you feel so helpless. Your mouse is gone for one, which makes your right hand seem pointless. I've never seen a game that makes me feel physically unempowered. An incredible feat, as well as not being able to slow down enemies, open chests from afar, or break crystals. It really makes you appreciate those who are with you and how much they truly impact your quest. Every environment feels the way it should. Forests are creepy, dungeons make you want to explore farther and find secrets. Heck, even the shady Balamoose Populi town has quiet whispering to make you feel off ease. At the start, you can see the giant that the Balamoose live on top of in the background. When you first see it, you wonder what it is and if you'll ever get to see it up close. When you do, it makes you feel a real sense of progression, that nothing is impossible and you can accomplish anything you set out to do. One small detail that seemed to stand out to me is how the inside of Aurora's crown said faux, which is French for false, meaning the crown is false. This could mean she isn't the true princess of Austria because she now has older sisters now that her father is remarried, or that she just doesn't deserve it. Either way, it seems that she is not meant to wear the crown to rule Austria, making you feel weak as a player right from the start. You can't do it. A discouraging thought that Aurora, or perhaps you yourself think at difficult parts of this adventure. Which adventure is for you to decide. However, just like Child of Light, there's no obstacle that can't be overcome with confidence, hard work, and friends to help you along the way. I'd also like to mention how faux is a French word. Why would someone from Austria wear something that they cannot understand? Well, they are located almost next to each other, and in 1750 through 1792, they formed an alliance and fought together in the 7 Years' War against Prussia. If we are a child in 1895, it would make sense that our grandparents were raised during that time period, which could result in our grandparents and parents learning French, which would also be taught to Aurora. Perhaps I'm making too many real-world or even unnecessary connections here, but it did truly stick out to myself and I wanted to do a bit of research on it, considering that as of now, Austria is a primarily German-speaking nation. Going back to the rhyming aspect of the game, not in the dialogue sense, but rather its approach, almost feels like a play at some points. Characters rhyming fluently as if it's from a script, and in battle, spotlights being shown on prominent characters. For instance, when Finn becomes disheartened, he suddenly stops rhyming, which is out of character for him, or anyone else in the game, almost like he broke his character because of the despair he was in. You can also reach the end of the world, and when you get there, no music plays, the only part of the overworld where this happens, and you can only hear sound effects. Just like if you went off stage of a performance, the music would stop, and all you could hear was yourself walking, or anything else you did. Was this just an oversight in the game? Possibly. But if these little things can stick out that well to me, I don't think they are. So much time went into these little details, and of course, the main parts invoke yourself to become a part of the world, which makes Child of Light truly special. I usually wouldn't talk about such a specific part of the game, but I feel like I needed to mention the dialogue. As we already know, the game is supposed to be set in a storybook, but it's rarely brought up, which immerses you in the story. However, the dialogue uses quite a bit of rhyming, puns, and characters misunderstanding each other's meanings of certain words. I feel like this style is taken from how Shakespeare conveyed characters through their dialogue. In Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing, Antonio tells Leonetto that Don Pedro confessed his love for Hero, and then will ask Leonetto for Hero's hand in marriage. However, Antonio misheard. Claudio loves Don Pedro. This causes a bigger problem than it would have if there were no misunderstandings. In fact, we actually misunderstand Shakespeare's writings. When Juliet, from Romeo and Juliet, cries, "O Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo?" she is actually asking why his name is Romeo of the Montague family, not where he physically is. When Aurora first meets Ignicholas, he says, "Ever heard of an Aurora?" Aurora replies, "Why, sir, she is me." Ignicholas seems confused and says, "Both sir and she? A split aura." Aurora tells him to cease his foolishness. Now this is also interesting. To begin, Ignicholas could have meant the girl, or possibly the light display in the sky, though the name is capitalized. But if you just heard it, not read it, you wouldn't know the difference. Then Aurora says sir, referring to Ignicholas. She, the Aurora he mentioned, is herself. Ignicholas then questions the sir and the she being next to each other and says Aurora is a split aura, maybe thinking that Aurora thinks of herself to be neither or both gender. Aurora then suggests that he is being silly and not serious about the situation, but perhaps he is genuinely confused, both by the wording or even what definition of Aurora he meant. Misunderstanding names, context, and pronouns are a big part of Shakespearean misunderstandings. Although the game never takes it to the extreme of characters resenting each other, it is still reminiscent of his works, and I feel it's important to add. Easily one of my favorite soundtracks. The soundtrack was composed by Canadian singer-songwriter Coeur des Pirates, who has had really great success from 2009 to 2012. I haven't heard any of her other works up until this point, but I can confidently say she nailed this one. Great overworld, battle, and even menu themes. Seriously, whatever is happening on screen is heightened by what song is playing. Despair, hope, and anxiety are all brought to life through it. If this game did not have its soundtrack, I don't think I could praise it close enough to how I am now. It is such a key element, and I'm so glad that this artist and those game developers knew what needed to go where and how it needed to feel. Trust me, I don't like using the word artist lightly, especially for all the poorly inspired cash-grabbing musicians. But with this level of feeling, emotion, and passion, I can confidently say that this music, this art, goes above and beyond what is needed to be referred to as an artist. Well, that's Child of Light. In my opinion, it's easily one of Ubisoft's best releases throughout their years as a game company. I'm not alone either. Thousands of people saw what I have in this game and are begging for more. I don't know if a second game could hold a candle to this masterpiece though. It redefines the role-playing genre and hooks you into its world until you have to complete your quest and return home. Especially in the endgame, so many events transpire that actually make you feel real anger, sadness, and joy towards the world of Lemuria. Games are becoming more immersive, and perhaps these are the games that will hold a special place in children's hearts, like Mario, Zelda, Kirby, and Mega Man did for us. For a unique RPG that mixed up the genre's predefined elements and made new, refreshing, and most importantly, fun elements, I'd give Child of Light a 9 out of 10. I'd recommend this game to all gamers for its drawing story, fun gameplay elements, and a reasonable game length of about 15 to 20 hours on normal mode. I love this game so much that I'd like everyone out there to play it. However, I can't afford that many copies, but I can't afford one. So for the first time, I'm doing a giveaway for Child of Light on the PC. The giveaway will be held on Twitter. All you have to do is retweet this tweet that's pinned on my account and in the description. Easiest entry ever. The winner will be announced 3 weeks from now on my YouTube and Twitter. So make sure to subscribe to me on YouTube and follow me on Twitter to find out the winner, as well as receive future notifications from myself regarding future uploads and hopefully even more giveaways for games as awesome as this one. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you all for watching and I'll see you guys next time.